Jordan never imagined that a simple TikTok account could destroy everything he held dear. His daughter, Maya, was once the quiet type, shy, polite, and happiest when curled up with a book in her lap. She had always been the gentle soul of the family, the kind of girl who still said goodnight before going to bed and laughed at her little brother's silly jokes. But everything changed the day she downloaded TikTok. What began as harmless fun soon became something else entirely. Jordan remembered the first few videos, short dances, goofy challenges, little clips of her and her friends laughing after school. Nothing seemed wrong back then. Just kids being kids, he told his wife, Lila, with a smile. He had no idea that those small moments of laughter would grow into something much darker. Within weeks, Maya's follower count exploded. Jordan watched in disbelief as her page went from a few likes to hundreds, then thousands. Soon, strangers began recognizing her in public, calling her by her handle, @MayaMoves. She loved it. Every comment, every new follower seemed to fill her with energy. Jordan saw the light in her eyes, the thrill that came with attention. He wanted to be happy for her, but something about it unsettled him. "It's harmless," Lila said when he expressed concern. "She's finally coming out of her shell." But Jordan wasn't so sure. The daughter he once knew, thoughtful, kind, content, was slowly being replaced by someone obsessed with her phone, her numbers, her reflection. At first, it felt innocent enough. Maya was just doing what other teenagers did. Jordan didn't want to be the strict father who didn't understand the new generation. So he tried to support her. He'd smile when she showed him a new dance, laugh when she asked him to rate her transitions. But as the weeks passed, dinner conversations turned silent. Maya sat at the table, eyes glued to her phone, thumbs flying over the screen. Even when Lila tried to talk about school or plans for the weekend, Maya would respond with a distracted, Ethan, her younger brother, noticed too. "Dad," he whispered one night, "Maya doesn't talk to me anymore." Jordan had no answer. He just sighed, realizing that the glow from her phone had replaced the warmth that once filled their home. Before TikTok took over their lives, the Thompsons were an ordinary family. Jordan and Lila had built a quiet, happy home where laughter was common and love came easy. Maya, 16, and Ethan, 11, were close, inseparable, even. They had their little inside jokes, their shared snacks, their sibling arguments that always ended with a hug. "She's like a second mom to him," Lila often said proudly. But the moment fame found Maya, that bond began to crumble. Ethan didn't understand why his sister no longer wanted to play board games or watch cartoons with him. He'd stand outside her room, listening to the muffled music from her phone, waiting for her to call him in. She never did. It was easy to overlook at first. Just a phase, Jordan told himself, watching Maya's videos from the living room. Her first viral post had been nothing special, a short clip of her dancing in the school hallway. But when it hit 10,000 views overnight, Maya's world changed.
"Dad,
look at this," she screamed, running into the kitchen with her phone. 10,000 people watched me dance." Jordan smiled, impressed but cautious. "That's great, sweetheart," he said, trying to hide his unease. The next morning it was 50,000, then 100,000. And then brands started reaching out, little skincare companies, clothing lines, accessories. "Dad, they want to send me free stuff." Maya laughed. It was thrilling. But Jordan couldn't shake the feeling that something invisible was slipping away, their peace, their closeness, maybe even their daughter. Soon, Maya was filming every day. Morning to night, the phone rarely left her hand. "It's just content, Dad," she said one evening when he asked why she skipped dinner. "I'm building something." Jordan tried to understand. He wasn't from her world. He worked in maintenance, far removed from hashtags and filters, but he could see the fire in her eyes. It wasn't about creativity anymore. It was about attention. She craved it the way a person craves air. Her smile wasn't shy anymore. It was performative, practiced, meant for the camera. When she looked at him, it wasn't the same. She was present but not really there, her mind somewhere in the endless scroll of likes, shares, and brand deals. The change came quietly, then all at once. Maya began posting not just dances, but glimpses of their family life, moments that should have stayed private. A small argument between Jordan and Lila about bills somehow became a trending soundbite. A video of Ethan throwing a tantrum over homework was uploaded with a caption, "Little brothers are the worst." "Maya, delete that," Jordan said firmly one night. She rolled her eyes. "Dad, relax. People love real content." "That's not real. That's our life," he shot back. But she wasn't listening. Lila tried to calm him. "It's harmless, Jordan. Let her express herself." He wanted to believe her, but deep down, he knew this wasn't expression, it was exposure. The tension grew heavier with each passing week. Maya's fame soared, and so did her distance. Ethan, once her biggest fan, now avoided her. He'd retreat to his room when she started filming, embarrassed to be caught in the background. One evening, he came to Jordan in tears. "Dad, why doesn't she like us anymore?" he asked, voice trembling. Jordan knelt beside him. "She still loves you, buddy," he said softly, though his heart knew otherwise. That night, he stood by Maya's door and watched her through the crack, smiling at her screen, laughing at strangers' comments. She looked so alive in that light, yet so far from them. He realized then that TikTok hadn't just changed Maya, it had stolen her. Then came the breaking point. Maya posted a video of an argument between Jordan and Lila. It was private, personal, about her spending habits and school grades. She edited it cleverly, making Jordan look harsh, unreasonable. The caption read, "When your dad doesn't understand your dreams." Within hours, the video went viral. Thousands of strangers flooded the comments, calling him controlling, abusive, toxic. "How could he speak to her like that?" one wrote. Maya basked in the sympathy, replying with sad emojis and "It's okay, I'll be fine." Jordan watched helplessly as the world turned against him, all because of a 15-second clip. For the first time in his life, he felt powerless, like an outsider in his own home. After that viral post, nothing felt the same inside the Thompson home. Jordan could feel the shift, the tension, the judgmental glances, even from his wife. Lila didn't defend him. She only sighed and said, "Maybe you shouldn't have raised your voice, Jordan." He stared at her in disbelief. "Lila, she's turning our family into entertainment," he said, voice trembling. "This isn't normal." But Lila only shrugged. "It's just social media. She's expressing herself." Jordan wanted to scream. He wasn't just angry, he was heartbroken. His daughter had turned him into a villain in front of millions, and his wife thought it was art. That night, Jordan sat in the dark living room while Maya's laughter echoed faintly from her room. It wasn't the kind of laughter he used to love. It was hollow, like something rehearsed. Ethan noticed it too. He didn't understand why his father looked so defeated or why his sister barely spoke to them anymore. "Dad," he asked one morning, "why does Maya say you're mean on her videos?" Jordan froze. He didn't know how to answer that. How could he tell his 11-year-old son that his sister was trading their pain for likes? "She's just confused, buddy," he finally said, forcing a smile. But Ethan wasn't convinced. "She's different now," he whispered. "She doesn't even hug Mom anymore." Jordan's chest tightened. He wanted to protect Ethan, but how do you protect a child from something that lives in every screen around him? Maya's fame grew faster than ever. Every controversy made her more popular. The more dramatic her posts, the more followers she gained. "People love honesty," she'd say proudly, showing her father another video that reached 1 million views. "That's not honesty, Maya," Jordan replied, his voice soft but firm. "That's pain ours." But Maya just smiled like he didn't get it. "You'll see one day," she said. "This is going to make me somebody." She didn't realize that in becoming somebody to the world, she was becoming nobody to the people who mattered most. Lila, on the other hand, was blinded by the attention. She saw opportunity where Jordan saw danger. "Do you know a big cosmetics brand just sent her free products?" she told him one evening, her tone almost proud. She could turn this into a real career. Jordan couldn't believe it. "Lila, she's 16. She's supposed to be thinking about school, not sponsorship deals." But Lila wasn't listening. "You're overreacting," she said. "Let her have her moment." Jordan rubbed his temples in frustration. He was watching the family he'd built with love and patience slowly disintegrate, and the worst part was, no one else seemed to notice. Ethan became quieter by the day. The boy who once filled the house with questions and laughter now spent his evenings curled up on the couch, staring at nothing. Sometimes, he'd watch old videos of him and Maya playing outside, back when she was just a sister, not an influencer. "Dad," he said one night, "do you think she still loves us?" Jordan felt a lump rise in his throat. He wanted to say yes. He wanted to promise Ethan that Maya would come back to them. But when he looked toward her closed door, illuminated by the cold blue light of her phone screen, he couldn't bring himself to lie. "I hope so, son," he whispered. "I really hope so." As months passed, Jordan tried everything, family meetings, gentle talks, even grounding her for a week. Nothing worked. Maya would apologize, cry, and promise to change, only to post another video hours later about how strict parents don't understand. Each post twisted the knife deeper. Lila tried to stay neutral, but her silence spoke volumes. Jordan felt like a stranger in his own house, a man walking on eggshells in what used to be a home full of warmth. Ethan began spending more time in his father's room, falling asleep beside him just to avoid hearing Maya's endless live streams. Every night, Jordan would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly they had lost her. The breaking point came on a Friday evening. Jordan came home from work exhausted and found Maya filming another video. This time, tears in her eyes as she spoke directly to the camera. "I just wish my dad understood me," she said dramatically, her voice trembling for effect. "He's always yelling, always judging. I just want to live my dream." Jordan stood frozen at the doorway, realizing she was talking about him. "Maya, stop filming," he shouted. The phone camera turned to catch his angry face. "There," she said bitterly. "That's what I'm talking about." Lila rushed in, yelling for both of them to calm down. But the damage was done. Within hours, that clip was online, and once again, Jordan was the monster. The comment section was brutal. Strangers called him every name imaginable: abuser, narcissist, failed father. Some even told Maya to cut ties with her toxic family. Lila begged him to ignore it, saying, "It's just the internet, Jordan. Don't take it personally." But how could he not? People who had never met him were dissecting his life, judging his parenting, condemning his love. It was suffocating. He started avoiding neighbors, co-workers, even church friends. "You okay, man?" one asked him once. Jordan smiled weakly and said, "Yeah, just tired." But inside, he was crumbling. Fame had stolen his daughter, and now it was stealing his peace. One night, Jordan found Ethan sitting on the stairs, staring at the blank TV screen. "What's wrong, champ?" he asked softly. Ethan shrugged, tears welling up. "She posted about mom this time," he whispered. "Said she only pretends to care." Jordan felt his stomach drop. "She didn't," he started, but Ethan nodded. "Everyone at school saw it. They're calling her the truth girl." Jordan sat beside him, resting a trembling hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry, buddy," he said quietly. "She doesn't mean it." Ethan sniffled. "Then why does she do it?" he asked. Jordan looked toward Maya's closed door, where faint laughter from another live stream echoed. He had no answer. All he knew was that somewhere between the fame, the filters, and the followers, his daughter had disappeared. The tension inside the house grew unbearable. Every conversation felt like walking through glass. Lila kept insisting that things would calm down eventually, that Maya would mature out of it. But Jordan knew better. Their daughter wasn't just chasing fame anymore. She was living for it. One evening, while Maya filmed a day in my life vlog, Jordan stood in the hallway listening. Every laugh, every exaggerated sigh felt fake. It was as though she was performing a role in a movie none of them had agreed to star in. When she finally noticed him standing there, she said sharply, "Dad, can you not? You're ruining my take." He wanted to shout, but instead, he quietly closed the door and walked away. That silence hurt more than any argument. Lila began spending more time with Maya, not out of love, but out of curiosity. She would help her pick outfits, read scripts, and even record short clips. "It's just harmless bonding," she told Jordan, but he could see the glimmer of excitement in her eyes. "You're encouraging her," he said one night. "You're feeding the same thing that's tearing us apart." Lila folded her arms, unimpressed. "At least I'm trying to connect with her. All you do is criticize." The words stung, but Jordan didn't respond. He didn't know how to compete with a phone screen that gave his daughter the world's applause. Ethan withdrew further into himself. The boy who once shared every detail of his day now barely spoke. He'd sit at the dinner table in silence, pushing food around his plate. "Eat something, honey," Lila said gently. "Not hungry," Ethan mumbled. Across from him, Maya filmed her plate for another family dinner vlog, pretending to laugh. The irony was cruel. They looked like a happy family on camera, but off-screen, no one spoke. Jordan watched the scene unfold, realizing that their home had become a stage. Even their pain was now scripted content. It was one quiet Saturday morning when Jordan finally snapped. He walked into Maya's room and took her phone off the desk. "That's enough, Maya," he said firmly. She looked up from her bed, eyes wide. "What are you doing? Give that back." "No," Jordan replied, his voice trembling. "This is ruining you, ruining all of us." Maya lunged for it, panic in her voice.
"Dad."
"That's my job. You can't just take it." "Job," he echoed bitterly. "You're 16. Tears filled her eyes, but they weren't tears of guilt. They were of rage. "You don't understand anything," she screamed. "You're trying to destroy me." Her words cut deep, and before Jordan could say another word, she stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. She didn't come home for hours. Jordan sat by the window, staring at the driveway, waiting for the sound of footsteps. Lila was furious. "Why would you take her phone, Jordan? You know that's her work." "Work," he repeated softly. "She's a child, Lila." "You embarrassed her," she shot back. "Do you have any idea what people online will say if she doesn't post today?" Jordan stared at her in disbelief. "You're worried about strangers' opinions?" "I'm worried about our daughter," she yelled. The irony hit him hard. Their daughter had the whole world watching, yet not one person truly saw her. When Maya finally returned that evening, she didn't look at either of them. She went straight to her room and locked the door. Within minutes, the sound of her phone camera clicked back on. Jordan pressed his forehead against the wall outside her room, listening to her voice. "Sometimes, your own family tries to tear you down," she said into the camera, her tone trembling. "But you just have to keep pushing." Within seconds, he knew another video was going up. "God help me," Jordan whispered under his breath, feeling utterly powerless. Days turned into weeks. Maya's video about toxic family energy went viral again, this time even bigger. Influencers started stitching it, sharing opinions, taking sides. Some praised her bravery. Others pitted her. But none of them knew the truth. The comment section was a battlefield, and Jordan's name became a punching bag for strangers. Ethan came home, crying one afternoon. "Dad, someone at school said you're abusive," he sobbed. Jordan froze. "What?" "They saw Maya's video," Ethan said between tears. "They said you're the reason she wants to move out." Jordan felt his chest tighten. The internet's lies had spilled into real life, into his son's classroom, into their world. That night, Jordan confronted Lila. "I can't do this anymore," he said quietly. "She's tearing us apart, and you keep defending her." Lila sighed, exhaustion written all over her face. "I'm trying to keep the peace, Jordan. She's our daughter." "She's not the same girl, Lila." "Can't you see that?" he said, his voice breaking.
"She's gone."
"And we're the collateral damage." For the first time, Lila didn't argue. She just sat down, staring blankly at the floor. The house was quiet, but it wasn't peace. It was the sound of something dying slowly. Ethan was the one who broke the silence. One night, he crept into Jordan's room, clutching a pillow. "Dad," he whispered, "can I sleep here tonight?" Jordan nodded, pulling back the blanket. As Ethan curled up beside him, he said in a small voice, "I miss her. I miss my sister." Jordan held him close, swallowing hard. "I know, buddy. I do too." In the dim light, father and son lay there, listening to the faint echo of Maya's laughter from the other room, the laughter of a girl who didn't realize she had already lost everything worth keeping. The following days were heavy with silence. Jordan moved around the house like a ghost, speaking only when necessary. Lila avoided eye contact, torn between her husband and her daughter. Maya, on the other hand, seemed unfazed. Her numbers were higher than ever, her videos trending daily. She laughed in front of her camera as if nothing was wrong, while their family quietly disintegrated behind the walls. Ethan stopped trying to talk to her. He no longer knocked on her door, no longer waited for her to join movie nights. The sparkle in his young eyes dimmed. One afternoon, Jordan found him drawing on the kitchen table, a picture of their family holding hands. But in the corner, Maya was standing alone, her face replaced by a phone screen. It broke him. That night, Jordan sat on the porch, the air thick with regret. He replayed everything in his mind: the first video, the first brand deal, the first argument. He wondered if he had missed the signs too early, if he could have stopped it before it swallowed them whole. Lila joined him, her face tired. "She's still our little girl," she whispered. Jordan nodded slowly. "No," he said after a moment, his voice low and rough. "She's the internet's little girl now." Lila flinched, tears brimming in her eyes. "You can't just give up on her." "I'm not giving up," Jordan replied. "I'm just letting go before we lose everything else." The breaking point came a week later. Maya posted a new video, this time secretly filmed during a heated argument between her parents. Jordan had been pleading with her to take a break, to go offline for just a few days. "You're addicted, Maya," he'd shouted. But the way she edited the clip made him look aggressive, unreasonable. The caption read, "When your dad doesn't believe in your dreams." It exploded online. Within hours, strangers filled her comment section with heart emojis and messages like, "Stay strong, queen." Meanwhile, Jordan's phone buzzed with messages from coworkers, friends, even relatives. He didn't bother reading them. He just sat there in the dark, his heart sinking with every vibration. Ethan was the one who broke him completely. "Dad," the boy said softly that evening, "can we go somewhere else? I don't want to live here anymore." Jordan looked down at his son's trembling hands, realizing this wasn't just about TikTok anymore. It was about survival. He nodded slowly, his throat tight. "Pack your things, champ," he whispered. "We'll stay at Grandpa's for a while." Ethan hesitated. "What about Mom?" Jordan forced a small smile. "She'll be fine. She's with Maya." But deep inside, he knew none of them were fine. They were just fragments of what used to be a family. When he told Lila about the decision, she was furious. "You're overreacting," she shouted, tears streaming down her face. "You can't just take Ethan away." "I can't stay here anymore, Lila," he said quietly. "I can't watch her destroy herself, and us, at the same time." "She's just a teenager," Lila cried. "She'll grow out of it." "No," Jordan whispered, shaking his head. "She's already grown into it." For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then, without another word, Jordan walked to Ethan's room, took his son's small suitcase, and together they left. The house was silent except for the faint sound of Maya recording another video. The days that followed were strangely calm. Jordan and Ethan stayed at his parents' house, where mornings were quiet and nights were filled with stories instead of screens. Slowly, Ethan began to smile again. He helped his grandfather fix old tools, laughed at silly jokes, and slept soundly for the first time in months. But Jordan couldn't shake the guilt. Every time he looked at his phone, he wondered if he should call Maya, if he should try one last time to reach her. But each time he opened her TikTok, he saw only the version of her that the internet had claimed: confident, popular, flawless. The girl in those videos wasn't his daughter anymore. She was a stranger with his child's face. Meanwhile, back home, Lila stayed with Maya. She still believed that the fame would lead somewhere meaningful, that all the chaos had a purpose. But deep down, even she could feel the emptiness creeping in. Maya's followers grew, her sponsors multiplied, yet her laughter no longer sounded real. Sometimes, late at night, she'd sit alone on her bed scrolling through comments, thousands of hearts and emojis, but not one message from the people who used to matter most. The silence in her room grew louder than the applause online. Once, she almost picked up her phone to call her father, but pride and followers stopped her. Months passed, and though time softened some of the wounds, the distance remained. Jordan and Ethan rebuilt a quiet peace together. Lila stayed in touch, but Maya never called. Her fame soared. Interviews, sponsorships, millions of followers. Yet behind the camera, she was empty. The family that once gathered around the dinner table now existed in fragments. A father and son healing in silence, a mother living in denial, and a daughter lost inside a glowing screen. Jordan often thought about her, wondering if one day she'd realize that the love of strangers could never replace the love she'd left behind. And sometimes, when the night was quiet and Ethan had fallen asleep, he'd whisper into the dark, "I forgive you, Maya." But deep inside, he knew she might never forgive herself. Please like, comment, and do not forget to subscribe.